Well, a fine good morning to everybody. This is Ron Wheeler. Welcome to our session this afternoon. It'll be this afternoon when we start, at least Eastern time. I'm live from beautiful, sunny, warm Northeast Ohio. Totally kidding. It's like 9 degrees outside and wind chills are like sub-zero. Not as bad as it was in like Kansas City for that Kansas City game and for like Buffalo, but cold enough where all my kids are off school today. So I got that going for me. So welcome to our class, How to Generate 3% per month with one option trade per week. I started the room just a few minutes early. We're going to start officially in about 5 minutes, but I do like to open the room just a tad early just to make sure all the technology is working and all that great stuff. So do me a big favor. If you guys can hear my voice, if you can see the screen, it should say VectorVest. There should be a picture of a $100 bill on there. Just give me a quick shout out in the chat window. That way I know that everything is working well and our broadcast is operating flawlessly. All right, I see Jerry, you popped in there first. You win. Say I see it, and then Wes and Jock and Steve and Terry and James, and now the names are starting to flood in. I got to actually open up my screen so I can see them all. All right, good deal. James, I see hello from Arizona. A little bit jealous of that. I got to be honest, in the dead of winter here in the frozen tundra of Ohio. Which, by the way, I'm from Ohio. I was born and raised here, and I've pretty much lived here my entire life. I work for VectorVest. And as maybe you knew, maybe you don't know, VectorVest has an office in North Carolina, which I don't work from. That's where my colleagues that are here with me today work from. But we also have an office here in Akron, which is mostly data and accounting, and me. So I work at Akron. I've always been an Ohioan, so I was able to pretty much work out of their Akron office, which is great. All right, do me a favor. You guys can already see my screen and all that kind of stuff. That's great. We already kind of went through that. And then I'm kind of curious. I know, James, I think you said it was in Arizona. What time is it by you guys? Right now, it's about 11:57 here in northeastern Ohio. It's about the same time. It's the same time in North Carolina. I'm just kind of wondering where you guys are all viewing from. Always curious. I spent so many years on the road. It's just always nice to be able to sit here in my mildly cold office today and do these classes with you guys. I see Salem, Oregon, Florida. Must be nice. James, yep, 9:57. Don, 8:57. California, Jerry, Calgary, 10 o'clock. So wow, a lot of you are not actually from the East Coast time frame. Well, a couple of you are. Victor, you're from Florida as well, and cold Ottawa. Ken, you say Harry, also Ontario. Oh, quite a few Canadians here. Welcome to all of you, Robert and Harry. Awesome. So, like I said, just kind of curious to see where you guys are dialing in from. And then while you're typing in there, what do you guys do? You retired? You still working? Just kind of curious. You know, when I originally created the concept of this income trading here at VectorVest, my candidate was really the retiree who's looking for something a little bit more hands off as an investment, but can create a good income source for them while they're retired. But what I've learned over the years is that I have clients from all over the spectrum. I've got people that have said, hey, Ron, I'm 90 years old doing this. And then I think the youngest person that actually attended our class was 14. His dad is a client of ours, and he wanted his kid, instead of going to college and learning different things, he wanted him to start learning how to do investing in things. So that's a really good education. I wish I had that at a young age. I mean, I did kind of have a lot of it at a young age. I started trading when I was 20, but still, even earlier would be great. Don Ryder, recently retired. Awesome. Michael, semi-retired, avid investor, Harry. I like that. You are me, my man. That's what I'll be. Sean, about 25 miles east of Akron. Awesome. Yeah, you're close. Our office is in Farallon. I'm in Medina County. So, yeah, we're pretty close. Terry, financial advisor, retired. One more year, then retiring. Tarsum, awesome. Steven, all right, cool. Recent retired LEO, awesome. Thank you for that service. And then Jeff, awesome. Good to have you with us too. Great. So we've got a good spectrum here. We've got a lot of retirees, some recent, some coming soon. That's good. And the beautiful thing is, what we're going to talk about today is really a good income source no matter what you do. You know, if you work full time, you can still do a trade a week or 2 trades per week in a very hands-off approach. If you're more like Harry, who said he was more of an active investor while he's retired, you can do 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 15 trades a week if you want to. The beautiful thing is, no matter what your lifestyle, this will scale appropriately to it, which is great. Okay? All right. Well, it is 12 noon, so let's go ahead and kick off our official presentation. And again, where it's called this is about how to generate 3% per month with as little as one option trade per week. And today's webinar, I'm going to be showing you the system that we created here at VectorVest to help you generate income in any type of market. Now, the information I'm going to share with you not only has changed my life, I've seen it change the lives of so many people. So I hope you're excited about it as well. In this webinar, you're going to see how you can begin making a paycheck that averages about 3% per month or more. And I want you to keep in mind, you can do this regardless of market direction. You can do it if you have little to no prior experience. It's safer than simply buying or selling stocks, and it's something that you can implement quickly. Now, I know it might sound too good to be true, and you might be thinking, hey, is this legit? You want some proof, and I would too if I were you. You know, I see those annoying, overhyped advertisements of the guys standing next to their fancy cars and their private jets, these Instagram models and TikTok people saying about trading crypto. Listen, I'm not like that. I like to let the results stand for themselves and let you decide. My goal is to help you generate 3% per month. In 2023, that's exactly what we did. We had a total result of $37,000 in profits in our $100,000 trading account. That's an average of 3% per month, 3.1 to be specific. You can see that out of the 12 months, we had 4 months where we actually lost money, and then 8 months we made money. Which, if I remember correctly, that's actually how 2022 went as well. We had 8 winning months and 4 losing months. But overall, we averaged out to a 3.1% return per month. And if you take a look, the average winner being 1,000, the average loser being 1,000, there's no big losses here, which is beautiful. Okay? These are real results. These are results that are from live trades that I do with my coaching students. And something even more frequent, you know, I've been teaching this technique to students since 2016. One of my recent students sent me this email in December. He said, hey, Ron, just want to send a quick email to thank you and your team for the SPX Paycheck course back in September. I've been using this method and tracking my performance and thought you'd like to see the results. I entered my first 35 Delta trade on September 21st with only $5,000 in my margin account. Now, less than 3 months later, I'm already up 24%. Thanks again. I'll be teaching this method to my retired in-laws and help them grow their account as well. I'd love to hear this kind of stuff. And this is also a lesson for you. You don't need to dedicate $100,000 to this. You can start small while you learn and practice. But the cool thing is, it builds up quickly. So, for example, if you started with a $5,000 account and you average 3% per month, compounded over 15 years puts you at over $1 million. Small amounts add up quickly. Now, if you started with 25,000, you'd be near $1 million after 10 years. You're looking at some serious money here. And again, you don't have to have a lot to start out with. That's the beauty of this. Now, some of my clients were kind enough to share their photo and their results with you. We're going to talk about a few of them today. And these are real people just like you. So as I teach you the system today and share their stories, pay close attention because you might find yourself in a very similar position now as they were when they started. Now, again, my name is Ron Wheeler. I'm the option income coach here at VectorVest. I've been trading now for over 25 years. I think it's actually 27 years now. When I first started, the first couple of years, I had mostly losses. In fact, I blew out a couple of my trading accounts. And the reason I was losing was because I was trading in a way that required me to be right to make money. If I bought something, it had to go up. If I sold something, it had to go down. The bottom line here is if I wasn't right, I'd lose money. But a huge aha moment came to me when one of our clients, who was a hedge fund manager, came to our office to visit. He showed me the institutional secrets to how these hedge fund guys trade and make money. Now, long story short, he showed me the inside secret to using options so that even if I'm wrong with my analysis, I could still make money. He also showed me how to use options in a way that controlled my risk. Basically, he showed me how to stack probability and control risk. Now, think of the pressure that takes off of you. You don't have to even be right to make money. Now, in today's webinar, I'm going to show you the exact system I use to generate these types of returns, case studies and examples of our clients who are doing this, and then I'm going to show you our system so that if you learn and follow the strategies, you can do the exact same thing. And if you stay with me to the end, I put together a nice checklist that's going to help you plan out your trade. It's a PDF. We'll drop right into the handout section here of GoToWebinar. I'll drop it right in there. Click on it. You print it out. But do me a favor, remind me when we get to the Q&A section because most of the times after an hour I forget about it. Okay? All right, why is this such an important topic? Well, without an income system, it's on you, and that creates a number of problems for us. If you're not retired, it keeps you stuck in a situation where we have to work in order to live. Whether you got a lot of money or no money at all, concerns about finance are one of the leading causes of stress. Worrying about whether you'll have enough or if we'll run out of money, that can have a huge impact on your life, your health, and your relationship. If you're already retired, you might be watching your savings get depleted faster than you can fill it, especially with prices going up so much. If things don't improve, you may fear you'll continue to have losses that draw down your account. You're going to get behind on your goals, maybe even question your ability as an investor. You might even fear that you'll have to give up on investing and go back to work. Worst case scenario, you'll run out of money during retirement. Now, with a system to help you generate income, things are a lot different. And I believe this is probably one of the most important points of the webinar. So pay close attention, write it down. In order to be financially free, our main need is income. To be financially free, you need to learn to generate enough income from your investments that'll cover your expenses and lifestyle needs. So I'll say that again. In order to become financially free, you need to learn to generate enough income from your investments to cover your expenses and lifestyle needs. Whether you're still working or you're retired, the ability to generate income from your investments is one of the most empowering skill sets you can have. When you have the ability to generate income from your investments, your life will change. If you're still working, you can increase your earning capacity. It's like having a second job. If you're retired, you can have a consistent source of income as if you quit your job, but they kept paying you. It's like a tap you can turn on whenever you want. That allows you to do the things you want to do now and when you retire. When you got a system to help you generate income, it can help you retire younger. Now, as I said, I believe this is one of the most important points of the presentation. So I'm going to say it once again. When the income from our investments exceeds our living expenses, we become financially free or we have the ability to retire. Now, for an example here, Brian is a client of ours. Great example of how easy you can become proficient at drawing an income from the market, just like we showed you, even if you don't have or want to invest a lot to start with. He had some health problems and he needed a way to supplement his income. So by using our options paycheck system, he was able to generate $23,000 in profit starting with just $6,000. He had 100% winning trades in 10 months. 31 of 31 winning trades using our most basic system. And the key point that I want you to remember here, this is not beginner's luck. It's the result of following the system. It's the system that helped Brian get 100% winning trades and create that $23,000 in profit, starting again with only $6,000. Now, the first thing you need to do to take control of your returns, it's a bit of a strategic mindset shift. You're either going to continue being the gambler where you lose more than you win, or you're going to become an option seller and win more than you lose. Being an option seller is the way you can make consistent income each month, and it allows you to win even if you're wrong. Now, the reason why you want to be the casino or the house is that, well, number one, the house always wins. Number two, the house always wins because they control and they stack probability in their favor. The paycheck system is built around the same model, you stacking the odds massively in your favor. So make a note of this. In order to control your returns and results, you need to know how to stack probability in your favor. So the obvious question is, well, how do we do it? The first step is that shift from being the buyer of options to being the seller. So let me explain. Bruce is a great example of shifting from gambling on stocks to being the casino and controlling and stacking probability in his favor. He said prior to working with us, he mainly had taken stock tips from his brokers. Bruce focused on our SPX income system, which is our most basic trading system. He said he's not the most technical person in the world. But in the time he's been working with us, he's grown his account from $100,000 to $497,000 in 3.5 years. He's achieving a 74% win percentage simply by following the rules of the options paycheck system. And the whole thing takes him around 15 minutes a day. So let me show you how this works. This is an example of a typical trade you've been taught to make. You find a stock you like. You think it's going to go up. So you either buy shares of it or you buy what's called a call. Now, why do you buy a call option? You do this because when you started learning options and option basics say, when you think a stock will go up, you buy a call, right? The call is the right to maybe buy the stock in the future. So if you think the stock's going to go up, you might want to own it, you'd buy a call. But what ends up happening a lot of times? Either the stock doesn't go up or it doesn't go up enough and the call you just bought ends up expiring worthless. Has it ever happened to you? Well, that's the story of my initial options trading when I first started doing it. Well, what's the problem that's causing you to lose? Now, if you asked, a lot of people feel the problem is, well, maybe they just picked the wrong stock. It's possible. Maybe they picked the wrong strike price for their option. Or maybe it was the wrong expiration. They didn't give enough time to go up. But let's talk about the real problem. If you've been losing money or had more losers than winners with other systems, it's not your fault. That's because most of the systems on the planet teach you to be on the wrong side of the trade. You're taught to buy an option. But as a buyer, the probabilities are not on your side. And for most people, they end up buying and losing and buying and losing and buying and losing. Our options paycheck system teaches you a new way of thinking. You need to be a seller and not a buyer. That's how you get ahead of everyone else. That's how you put probability on your side. It's how you win even if you are wrong. So let's take a closer look at being an option seller. As a buyer, a typical trade would give you a 50-50 chance to be a winner. Because when you buy, the only way you make money is if the stock moves in your direction. So instead of having that buyer's mentality, we're going to have a seller's mentality. Now, instead of hoping a stock simply goes up, as a seller, you're going to strategically set up your trade using probability. Probability, based on what the stock has done in the past, will tell you where the stock is not likely to go. So instead of needing a stock simply just to go up in your direction, you can pick a price which says, as long as the stock doesn't go down to here, I can make money. Now, the here in this part is where that yellow arrow is. Now, what this allows you to do, you pick a price underneath the stock, and as long as the stock simply stays above it, you can make money. If the stock goes up, you make money. If the stock now goes sideways, you make money. The stock can even go down a little bit and you still make money. Right off the bat, we're putting probability in your favor. Now, in some trades, we can even increase that probability even more by choosing a lower price. This gives you an even bigger area where you can be right. And we do a lot of trades that actually start off with a 70% chance of success. And you can only do this as an option seller. As an option seller, you're putting the probability of success in your favor. And this is the definition of an income trade. An income trade is simply one where you can make money even if you are wrong on direction. We're putting probability in our favor. And do you remember Bruce? Bruce still trades with me every week in our coaching group. In fact, he recently posted on our private Facebook group, said another day of trading on the beach. Got my eyes on AMC and a cool beer. Life's good. Thank you, VectorVest and Ron, for giving us the tools to do what we do from anywhere. That's a great picture of financial freedom. And you know what? I wish I would have brought the picture he sent on Monday, or Tuesday, just yesterday. He was kind of mocking me because I live in Ohio. And yet again, he posted a great picture of him sitting on the beach with his laptops. That's the life. Now, Mike was someone who dabbled with options but said he lost on each trade. Have you ever been there? Can you imagine how frustrating it has to be to lose on each trade? Well, eventually he just stopped it, right? He went back to the books, tried to learn more about options, but he said he never felt comfortable he knew what he was doing. He had all this knowledge, but no real set criteria to use it. So Mike and I worked together. I taught him the paycheck system of being an option seller, and he became like an income machine. After he learned the system, he immediately went out and had 17 out of 19 winning trades with a profit of over 12 grand in 4 months. The key lesson here is that switch from going from buyer, or what we call the gambler, to seller or the house, that turned his situation around immediately. He was even so happy of his success, he sent me the spreadsheet of his trades. Here are Mike's results. I want you to notice the number of winners compared to losers. Now that's typical, right? The profit column versus the loss. Also, notice the length of trades. 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, 5 days, 11 days. He's pulling in about $1,000 every 7 to 10 days. That's actually the average length of our trades. These are not day trades. These are not something you're going to be in and out of in 30 minutes. These are trades that retirees and people that work full time can use. In fact, if you're like Mike and a lot of our students, you could begin trading the SPX. That's the index that tracks the S&P. That only involves one trade per week and has averaged about 4.5% per month since 2016. The odds are stacked in your favor on these trades. You're not going to be looking for one big home run trade to become a millionaire overnight. You're growing your account steadily each year. And that's the key takeaway. You know, home runs look good. Who wouldn't like a 2,000% return? But it's like a home run. To hit a home run, you got to strike out a lot. Singles are what wins these games. These singles are what will enable you to never run out of money and be able to do the things you want. So you've seen by simply flipping from buyer to seller, you can stack those odds significantly in your favor. Now we're going to stack the odds even further by understanding and capitalizing on the 3 most common buyers or gamblers' mistakes. Mistake number 1 is that option buyers choose unrealistic strikes. They choose option strikes that are so far away, the stock has no chance of hitting it. Let me give you an example. Here's a stock. Let's say somebody's bullish on this stock. A mistake a lot of option buyers make is they buy calls with strike prices way above the current stock price. Why do they do that if the stock has a little chance of hitting that level? They do it because they're cheap. Instead of doing a $1,000 option trade, they do a $50 option trade. Most buyers treat options like lottery tickets, but the problem is most of the time they lose, just like the lottery. Since there's always going to be buyers out there who will buy these options, you may as well be the one who sells it to them. You're selling an option that has a low probability of getting hit. And since it has a low probability of getting hit, that means you have a high probability of winning. And the same goes for puts. There's always going to be people who buy puts way down below the market, either as cheap lottery tickets or maybe they own the stock and they're buying some cheap insurance. That's cool. Well, it doesn't really matter. No matter why they're buying the puts way down below the market, the fact is there's always going to be buyers out there doing it. Since they're out there, they need someone to be the seller for them. When we sell these options, this is what's going to give us that 60 to 90% probability of success right from the very start of the trade. Now, the second mistake that buyers make is they choose options expirations that are too close to the current date. It's like when you go to a grocery store, you see a piece of steak on the discount rack. Yes, it's cheap, but you got like 24 hours to cook it or it goes bad. Well, the same is true for options. Here you see what happens to the price of an option in relation to the number of days to expiration. I want you to notice, let me get out my laser pointer real quick here. I want you to notice 180 days from expiration, it took about 135 days to lose half of the option's value. And then in the last 45 days, the price really dropped off. Now, a lot of buyers buy options with less than 45 days until expiration. Now, why do they buy these options if there's so little time left? Again, they buy the options because they're cheaper. It's like buying a lottery ticket. You're stacking probability against you. So instead of buying options in that window, we're going to learn to sell options in that window. Now, to be more specific, our paycheck system uses expirations that are typically 21 to 45 days away. That's the sweet spot of getting good risk and good reward. Let's take a graph of Home Depot here. Let's look at this. Most buyers will buy an expiration maybe here or maybe even here, right? Now, the problem is the expiration is still too close. Notice how the value of the option is dropping faster and faster and faster. This is bad for the option buyer. But remember, you're going to be the seller now. You're going to let this decay in price, this time decay it's called, work in your favor. Again, remember this. There's always going to be people out there buying options that have these expiration dates too close. You may as well be the one who sells it to them. Let them be the gambler. You be the casino because you will always win in the end. Now, the third mistake is that option buyers pay too much for their options. They buy what's called an overpriced option. So let me show you what I'm talking about. Here's two stocks. I want you to look at the top here. I want you to notice something. Both stocks are around the same price. But look at the option prices. Why are they so vastly different? $9 on the left, $1.80 on the right. Well, the option on the left had very high volatility, and that leads to the option being very, very expensive. Well, what's the big deal, right? You're buying these options and you're paying too much. Well, Ron, I got 100 grand in my account. Who cares if I have to pay a little bit more? I can afford it, right? It's not about that. I want you to watch what happens when a buyer who buys an option that's overpriced, like the one on the left. I want you to see what happens. We're going to model that both of these stocks go up $8 per share, $76 to $84. What happens to the value of the options if that happens? Even though both stocks rose, the overpriced option on the left actually lost money. The buyer got the direction right and he still lost. Now, over on the right, the buyer got the direction right. He bought an underpriced option and he got like a 300% return on his money. But over on the left, he lost. Why? Because the person who bought options of stock number one, that one on the left, didn't pay attention to volatility. They paid way too much. Now, those options that are very, very expensive have a great benefit to being a seller. Instead of buying those overpriced expensive options, we're going to be the seller. As a seller, those expensive options give us a very, very good return and a very, very limited risk. That's the beauty. Plus, we can stack probability on our side, just like I showed you earlier. Now, Bob has one of the most interesting stories I've seen. He said prior to working with us, he was making a bunch of the mistakes we talk about here, and it cost him dearly. In fact, he said he ended up either broke or bankrupt 3 times. In his own words, came close to living under a bridge. The paycheck system helped Bob turn his situation around in as little as 4 months. He learned to turn those mistake liabilities into strategies that helped him control and stack probability in his favor. In 4 months, Bob grew his account by 71% and achieved a 79% winning trade percentage. Now remember, folks, in order to control your returns and results, you need to know how to control and stack probability in your favor. Now, let me ask you a question. I want you to share with me in the chat message here. For those of you that have traded options in the past, have you ever made any of these buyer's mistakes? Do me a favor, type a yes or no in the chat. Have you ever made any of those buyer's mistakes? I'm going to take a sip of my coffee and wait for some of the answers to come in there. Well, that was disappointing. My coffee's cold. I like cold brew, but not cold hot coffee. And then, yes, David, Thomas, Harry, yes, all of them, Tom, Paul, Carl, most of the time, yes. Victor, have a current mistake. Steven, yes. Yeah, I mean, listen, we've all made those mistakes. It's not your fault. It wasn't my fault. We were just simply taught a broken system. That's all. Now, you want to be an option seller. I want to take a look at how to trade with very little risk. Because, when a lot of people hear the word options, and especially the term selling options, they immediately start thinking risky. However, the options paycheck system uses a very low risk strategy for selling options. This is why it's a core strategy that we teach our retirees. Now, why is reducing risk so important? Well, the biggest horror story people that I hear is one bad trade wiped out all my winners. Ron, I've done this before. I had a friend that did this. He had 90% accuracy for 5 months. Then one trade came in, wiped out all his gains. Well, the problem is, if you're not using the options paycheck system, you're not preserving your capital. This is what can happen to you if you're doing it wrong. I have the most simplistic way of preventing this from happening. When you trade options and you do it the options paycheck way, your risk is known before you place the trade. Okay? Don't place trades that look like that. You know it right up front. That's the beauty of this. The only way this can happen to you is if you place a trade that's not good. Don't do it. Trade the options paycheck way. That's not going to happen to you. It's never happened to me in 15 plus years of being an options trader. I've never had one bad trade that wiped out a bunch of winners. If that happens to you, it becomes very hard to recover losses. It takes a long time to recover. When you do it right, though, with the right system in place, you're going to have a built-in protection plan. You're going to take care of that risk management before you even open the trade. That's going to allow you to preserve and grow your capital. When you can set up your trades, select the stocks confidently, it reduces risk. Like I said earlier, home runs look good, but singles are what wins the game. One of the most common questions we get is, can I trade this in an IRA? A client of ours, John, grew his IRA over 112% in 1 year using our options paycheck system. He had tried and struggled with trading for some time before working with us. He learned to follow the system and turned his inconsistent results into predictable monthly income. He said in 12 months, he enjoyed 85% winning trades and more than double the size of his IRA while spending no more than 15 minutes per day in his trading. I also trade a portion of an IRA using these models. My colleague John does as well. I think Brian does as well. You can do this in an IRA if it's set up right. Now, the options paycheck system makes sure that you reduce your risk before you even open the trade. First, we choose stocks that are low risk. We have a very specific criteria, but in general, if we're bullish, we start by focusing on good stocks that are already rising in price, similar to what you would see here. Now, instead of selling an option what's called naked, we're going to sell with protection. So let me show you how to do this. Selling options naked is a method to where you can have that one losing trade that wipes out a bunch of winners, but we don't want that. A traditional option selling system like that leaves you with all this risk. We don't want this risk. I want to shrink the risk just to this amount. So I want to show you how this works. This is a graph again of a typical stock we'd be bullish on. It's a beautiful graph, so it's kind of understandably bullish on a stock that looks like this. Traditionally, people would buy the stock right here, right at the current price. Maybe even buy a call and use it as the strike price. Now remember, you're not the buyer anymore, you're the seller. Here's what you're going to do. You are going to sell a put. So when you're bullish, you are going to sell a put with a strike price below the current stock. Stock's at 138, we sell at 135. Remember, you're going to do this based on the probability of what the stock has done in the past. When you sell that put, you are going to receive a premium. You're going to get paid, okay? In this case, $200 per contract. Now, you can't just walk away and say, oh, I sold it, $200, I'm done. When you sell an option is very similar to like an insurance policy, right? I pay my car insurance, and for the next 3 months, they protect my car. They don't get to just cash my premium check and walk away. They have to provide protection for my assets. If I don't have an accident, my policy expires, the insurance company keeps the premium, and away we go, over and over again. So selling options is very similar to an insurance policy, okay? Now, if you did 10 contracts, you'd get paid $2,000. However, you have no downside protection. When you sell a put, that put comes with the potential obligation to buy the stock at 135. So if the stock drops down to $100 and for some reason you are forced to buy the stock at 135, you got a big hole you got to climb out of. That's not going to work for me. Okay? What we're going to do is we are going to get some downside protection. Using some of the money that we received when we sold the option, we are now going to buy an option as our insurance policy. So for example, this cost me $100. I received $200 for selling the option. I buy my insurance policy for $100. I get paid $100 to place that trade. If I did 10 contracts, I would get paid $1,000. Okay? Now that insurance put, that gives me the right to sell the stock to somebody. So if worst case scenario happens, I have the obligation to buy the stock at 135. Now, let's say the stock drops down to 100, I have the right to sell it to somebody for 130 bucks. I've limited my risk to $5. Now, I want to explain this. I've been doing these trades for 15 plus years. I've never actually had to do this, where I went in there and I had to, sell the stock to somebody else. I've never actually been assigned a stock. It's never happened to me, okay? This is just your disaster insurance. It helps you reduce risk. It reduces margin. It helps you buffer volatility. It's just that insurance policy does so many good things for you. It's why we do it as a really important part of our trade, okay? Now, what does this allow you to do? Okay, this trade now has, if the stock goes up, we can make money. The stock can even go sideways and we make money. The stock can even go down a little bit and we still make money. And if the stock goes down too far, we exit the trade. It's just like a stock trade, right? If I bought 100 shares of this and I put a stop at 135, if the stock goes up, great. But if the stock goes down to 135 and I'm wrong, I simply just exit the trade. The option trade is no different in that regards to a stock trade. If the stock comes down too far, we exit the trade and take a small proportional loss. So here's what I want to do with you. I want to set up a couple of trades I did with my clients to help you better understand how to set them up. Okay? So make sure you're listening here. I'm going to be showing you some numbers, so you want to pay attention to this. When the market is bullish, we are going to place bullish income trades. And a quick tip, we're going to try to pick strikes with at least a 60% probability of winning. Now, this is a stock that I did this year, Pulte Group. PHM was in a very nice uptrend. This is coming into June into July, right? This is the kind of stock that you want to be bullish on, no question. Now, at the time, PHM was $76 a share. Okay? Prior to that red expiration date, if you were to go out there and sell a put, now, here's what I want you to think. I go to my option chain, and this is what I see. If I sell a $75 option, I have a 56% chance to make money because Pulte at $76 has a 56% chance of staying above this price by this date. If I went down to B and I picked the 72, I think it might be 73, at 73%, now that trade has a 73% probability because we have a 73% chance of staying above $73 by that red expiration date. If I went down to C and chose a $70 strike, I have a 91% probability I'm going to make money. Why? Because over the next month and really about a month and 2 weeks, it has a 91% chance of staying above $70 for me to make money. Now, let me ask you a question. Not knowing anything else about probability, if I just simply told you, hey guys, I can show you a trade that has a 91% chance of success, a 73% chance of success, or a 56% chance of success. Do me a favor, type in the chat window which one you'd prefer. What would you prefer, 91, 73, or 56? Not knowing anything else. There we go. My screen was stuck for a second there. Okay. And yeah, I mean, I expect that. You'd want 91%. Now, a lot of you are saying some other ones too, and I get where you're coming from. Terry, it depends on the cost. Robert, Dennis, 91, James. So if you knew nothing else, most of you would pick 91%. That's where the majority have picked. Now, the problem with that 91% probability is that's the kind of trade where if you win, you make 50 bucks. If you lose 1,000. That's one of those trades where that one losing trade is going to wipe out a bunch of winners. Okay? Now that 56% is pretty good too. That's where you're still going to have some probability obviously on your side. You're going to have a risk reward that's really, really good, but your probability overall might end up being about 50-50 at best. Now at B, something magical happens at this level in B. This is where you start combining a lot of good things. Around that 60 to 70% level, this is where you're going to maximize your chance of success to be right, and you're going to see that perfect proportion of risk and reward. You're going to be at least 60% right, and you're going to have a trade where on a winner you might make 500, on a loser you might lose 500 bucks. You got that perfect sweet spot of everything. So that's actually the one I chose. I sold a $73 put and simultaneously bought a 70. Now, both of these are done as one trade. It's called a bull put spread. Aptly named. Why? Because you're bullish, bull. You're using puts, put, and it's a spread. Bull put spread. Now, if everything goes right, in 3 days here, the stock shot up and we made our $876 profit in about 3 trading days. Pretty quick. That trade happened a lot quicker than our normal trades. Normally we go about 7 to 10 days. But I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to complain when it's at, a 3-day trade. Now, that $876 profit I made, that was based on a $100,000 trading account. If you wanted to trade a $50,000 trading account, you'd have made like 400 and what is that, 90 or something like that? My math is really bad. 485, 48, something like that. Now, when the market is bearish, we are going to place bearish income trades. So here's an example of Target. Now, the market, for the most part, in the beginning of last year was down. Okay? It was in a downtrend. Target was also trading in a downtrend. It broke below a big low at right around 140. So let's zoom in. You're going to win if Target stays below the strike price you pick prior to the expiration date in red. So again, which one would you pick? Would you pick A at 85, B at 76, or would you pick C at 64%? Which one would you want? A, B, or C? Type that in the chat window. Smash that button in the chat window. Don't smash it. Keyboards are expensive. Gently tap the keyboard. All right. A lot of you are saying B and C. 64, got Terry, Harry, West, Ken, David, Stephen, Robert, 2 Roberts. Robert A, Paul, James. All right. So here's the thing. B or C is technically correct. But here's the cool thing. In this trade, I actually chose B. Now here's the reason why. If you remember that overpriced option thing that we talked about, remember I told you as options get more expensive, we can actually give us more probability with that good risk reward? Well, Target was one of those trades where I was able to actually go 76% and still maintain that good risk reward because the premiums were so high. So when you get those big expensive options, we can do 75, even in some cases 80% success rate on those really expensive options. So this is the trade I took on Target. I sold a $140 call and I bought a $145 call as my insurance leg. This is again aptly named the bear call spread. When you're bullish, bull put. When you're bearish, bear call. And this one, this is more typical. In about 7 days, I had my $765 profit. Perfect. And you can see the stock really didn't go very, very far. I mean, over the 7 days, it really just went sideways for the most part. And then finally on that 7th day, it finally dropped down to where I was able to get profits on that thing. Okay? So whether the market's bullish or bearish, you can still make money. That's the key here. Now, another client I worked with is Jim. He said prior to working with me, he told me his results were inconsistent. He felt very unsatisfied. He kept thinking there must be something else out there that was better. Have you ever felt that way? There's something more out there. Jim said he wanted a way to supplement what he was doing and would provide more regular income and had a high probability of success. After learning the system of being an option seller, he told me he had 21 winners in a row and returned 76% in about 8 months. His average trade was 8 days. That's kind of where the sweet spot, 7 to 10 days. Can you imagine how that must feel to going from being inconsistent to where all your trades are generating income? It's kind of like Mike that we talked about earlier. Now, I want to put this in your hands. That was Jim. What about you? What would an income system like this allow you to do? I want you to give me some examples in the chat. What would being able to create 3% per month on average do for your overall lifestyle? What would that allow you to do? Retire earlier? I know some of you guys said you're about a year away from retirement. Travel more? I'm looking at my neighbor's house right now and I'm mildly jealous because they're probably in Naples at their condo in this 6-degree weather. Buy a house in Naples? Yeah, anything I want. Worry less. Retire more, Paul says. Or retire earlier, Paul says. Travel. Have more boats, Stephen. I love boats. I always say, they have that thing. It's like, the best day of a boater's life is the day they buy the boat and the day they sell the boat. I actually agree with that because when you sell your boat, you're typically buying something else. So it's happy day. Rebuild. Just want to travel the world. New challenge going into retirement. Restore my classic car. Michael, I love it. Fund my wildlife feeding program. Phil, that's great. Bruce, who I talked about earlier, donates a lot of his profits to charity. He's a really great guy. Okay? Now, we said before that buying is gambling and selling is about controlling risk and putting the odds of success in your favor to generate income. The options paycheck system makes sure you have a guaranteed maximum risk. And it all goes back to whether you'd be the gambler or the casino. Because keep in mind, the house always wins in the end. Being an option seller is the way that you can make consistent income each month. It allows you to do it more safely and with a higher probability of success than simply buying and selling stocks. Now, I want to put all this together. I want to show you how you can have that bulletproof system, which you can do in as little as 15 minutes a day. Now, my students who've implemented this system have told me this is the most important thing they learned. Why? Because one of the biggest things people ask me is how much time is it going to take? And that's a great question. Well, here's the challenge. There's thousands of stocks out there, and you got to be able to find how to pick the right stock with the right strategy, know when to get in, at what expiration, what price, and what do you do if the trade goes against you? When do you get out? And when they start thinking about all that, it feels like you're trying to find a needle in a haystack. There's so much information out there, you don't know what to focus on. You're taking all the time, hours researching your trades, going from guru to guru looking for advice. Without a system, you're trading blindly. You're like a mouse running through a maze, bumping into all the walls. You don't know where to go. It's stressful, it's disheartening. But with the right system, you can identify good trades, get reliable income in as little as 15 minutes a day. But to get that, you need a system, and not just any system, a straight line system, a simple way to know when to place your trades, how to find your trades, how to set them up, and then how to manage them. So let me walk you through the pieces of the options paycheck system, the order they go in. No one else teaches option selling this way. This is like the secret sauce. There's 6 pieces, the top 5 build on each other, and that 6 kind of ties them all together. At the top of the system is market direction. A lot of traders ignore this and they just go out and start placing trades all over the place. You're going to be placing trades that are either bullish or bearish, and you have to have a way to know the market's direction. By doing this, you're narrowing your focus. Instead of just looking at all the trades, you're going to focus on one of 2 scenarios. Our options paycheck system has a timing signal built in that we use to tell us the market's direction. After you know the direction of the market, you want to find stocks that are highly likely to move in the same direction. So just listening or trading the stocks listening to the gurus, watching TV, it's not really the best choice. What you want to do is find stocks that are already in uptrends when the market's rising and bad stocks that are in downtrends when the market's falling. Now, our options paycheck system saves a lot of time in 2 ways. We look at 2 main things, fundamentals and price trend. We have pre-built searches built into our VectorVest platform, which we use instead of digging through all the data that the institutions throw at you. Once you got your list of stocks, you want a way to select the best ones for options trading. If you remember earlier, we looked at how big of an effect volatility had on an options price. The options paycheck system focuses on selling options with volatility in the upper end of the range, but we don't stop there. To take even more risk out of the trade, we filter out those with upcoming earnings and to make sure that the expiration date is in that sweet spot. Now, you can use tools from a broker to help you. We use a proprietary search tool that helps us find these candidates in really a matter of seconds. Now it's time to set up your trade. We're going to pick the one that has the highest probability of success based on the individual probability of the strikes. We're going to choose a strike far enough away from the stock's price that you have the smallest chance of losing. But we also have to maintain the best possible risk to reward. There's going to be that sweet spot of risk and probability. Before you place the trade, you need to know what to do if the trade goes not only for you, but against you. You don't want to be sitting in a trade feeling frozen like a deer in the headlights because you don't know what to do. Our paycheck system has rules to take profits at predefined levels. You can set these up in advance with your broker. And if a trade ever goes against us, we have a simple adjustment strategy that can bring in more income to minimize your losses. We're also going to know exactly when to exit a trade. And we can even put that exit in your broker so it happens automatically and very unemotional for me. And then lastly, you'd like a way to do this quickly. You don't want to be spending all day on the process. So you need a tool that allows you to do these things. It should be something comfortable you're using. Some brokers have great tools. Thinkorswim has great tools. Interactive Brokers has great tools. There's a lot of tools out there. You might find some paid tools to be very effective. For example, I like to use our proprietary tool from VectorVest called Options Pro. That saves me a ton of time. And speaking of time, we talked about Mike and Jim. They were each getting results in about 15 minutes a day. And well, so is Hugh. He told me one of his biggest struggles was finding a system that was efficient and it worked. He said he wanted to have that proper balance between trading and free time. He didn't have that work-life balance. Are you like that too? Do you spend too much time doing things you don't want to do and not enough time doing the things you want to? Now that Hugh has learned the options paycheck system of selling options, he said he has more confidence, more free time, and is able to have more fun. He said in his first 43 trades, he had 38 winners and returned over 26 grand in 4 months. Now, here's what I want you to do. I want you to take your pen. I want you to put a little star next to the part of the system that you might be good at right now. So for example, if you have a, pardon me, if you have a quick way to find a list of stocks likely to go in your direction, put a little star there. If there's an area where something isn't working or you need a little work, put a little frown there. For example, if you don't know how to manage, repair an options trade, put a frown there. If you've never traded options before, probably option selection down as a frown. I don't want you to overthink this. Take about 10 to 15 seconds. And I want you to grade yourself on where you are in an options income system. Now, I'm willing to bet maybe 1 in 100 investors will ever know how to do this. So I want to share with me in the chat window, what areas do you need to work on? Share with me in the chat window. Ron, I need to work on market direction, or I need to work on option selection. Give me an idea. Where do you need to work on to create yourself a successful option income system? Sorry for my little throat tickle there. I'm getting over back-to-back colds at the end of November or December, early January, and my throat's still a little scratchy from that. All right, option selection, Wes. Michael, trade management, all of them. Brian says, hence this webinar, 2 of 6. Brand new to options, options beyond, emotional, Mel. Option selection, trade setup, Jerry. I know I didn't read everybody's here. Kirk, market direction, Ken, all of them. David, all of them. Okay, so the key here is this. It's not to show you that you don't know what you're doing. The key of this exercise is to show you where you need help, to focus yourself on what your weaknesses are. Because ultimately, if you want to be successful, you got to have stars all the way down. Okay? Once you do that, you are on your way to generating income consistently in less than 15 minutes a day. So, listen, I can't know your exact reason for coming to today's webinar, but I'm going to make a few guesses here. Maybe you really haven't known what to do and you feel like you're trading blindly, bumping into one wall into the next. It's left you with inconsistent results. You make some money, but then you give it all back on your next trade. Just like Jim did before he learned the options paycheck system. Maybe you've been suffering through loss after loss, and those small losses are just killing your portfolio. Maybe the money coming in isn't exceeding the money going out. Maybe you're just not where you want to be. Now, today, I showed you the secret to fixing that, and it's a secret I bet only 1 in 100 investors will ever know, and now you're one of them. You saw it's possible to win even if you're wrong, to do it with little risk. It's even less risk than buying and selling stocks. You saw the system that we use to get that consistent income every month. I showed you just a few of the many, many people who use the system every day so they never have to worry about their retirement again. You saw over and over the secret to generating your consistent income is that shift from being the gambler to the casino. You're going to be that one investor out of 100 who knows the secret. That means there's going to be 99 other investors out there who will do things wrong. They'll be buying options and making all the mistakes we talked about. Okay? Let them be the gamblers. We can't stop them from doing it. As long as there will be those gamblers, there needs to be casinos. Remember the old saying, the house always wins in the end? The paycheck system teaches you how to stack the probability of success in your favor. Just like it taught Brian, just like it taught Bruce, like it taught Bob, like it taught Jim and Hugh and John and his IRA. Now, if you're like most people, you're wondering, how do I implement the options paycheck system in my portfolio? Well, you have a choice. Option number one is to do nothing and stay exactly where you are right now. Maybe you already have enough money to retire and you're not really worried about running out of money. Then you may not need this options paycheck system, and that's great. But if you would like to make some extra money, that leaves you with two other options. Option number two is to do it alone. Try to learn how the option trades work, try to figure out the direction of the market, learn to analyze the stocks, find the best ones to trade, hope you pick the right one, manage it correctly. Listen, if you're like Mike, that's what he tried to do. And listen, if you're willing to work hard, spend hours in front of your computer, learn by trial and error, you may be able to pull it off. But option three is the easiest. Let us guide you through it. I'll walk you through each piece of the paycheck system, and in just a few weeks, you're going to have that simple system to follow, and it doesn't take a lot of time. Of those three options, ask yourself, what's going to be the easiest? You know, there's two types of people. Person number one is someone who dreams about their financial goals but never takes action or does anything to make it happen. The second person is someone who's serious about their financial future. You're ready to take action when you see an opportunity in front of you. And since you're with me here after a good hour, I think that you're dedicated enough to be here, and that's going to make you the perfect candidate to get started on that very first options paycheck. So let me tell you what we put together for you. The options paycheck experience is the most comprehensive program for generating consistent income using option spreads, even if you've never traded an option before. This is the only implementation program of its kind that teaches you the secrets to generating consistent income with options. It shows you exactly how to find, set up, and manage option spreads to generate income, how to do it safer and more consistent in any market condition so you never fear running out of money. After going through the experience, you're going to know exactly how calls and puts work, along with all the terms you need to know. You'll no longer have a fear of options. You're going to get clear signals telling you when to trade bullish, when to trade bearish, and even when not to trade. You're going to be able to quickly identify the stocks that make the best candidates for your options income trade using a rules-based approach. This frees up a lot of time. You're going to set up income trades that give you a base 70% chance or better of success. And again, even if you've never done this before, you're going to have a trade management game plan in place prior to placing your trade. So you'll know how to confidently handle any situation the market throws at you. We're going to talk about entering and exiting trades with your broker. So you can do this like a pro, whether it's your first time or your 100th trade. We're going to show you how to implement a system to safely and consistently generate income. That's going to help you begin to live that lifestyle you want without that fear of running out of money. Now, the course is 8 modules long. We made them so each module builds on the one prior. And as you go through the modules, you're getting closer and closer to that end goal, which is a system for consistent income. Excuse me. The first 2 modules are what we call the option income foundation. A lot of people try to build a successful income portfolio, but they base that portfolio on such a weak foundation of knowledge. We understand what it's like to learn options for the first time. We've been there too. That's why it pays to learn from a team who's gone through this before. The outcome you get in Module 1 is you're going to know exactly how calls and puts work so you could confidently use them in your trades. You're going to know which terms to pay attention to, which to ignore so you don't waste time or get frustrated. In Module 2, you're going to learn what a spread is and how it works. You're going to be filled with all the confidence to start building an income system around these powerful new trades. Now that you have that solid foundation of option knowledge, it's time to lay out the step-by-step system to placing those income trades to generate that paycheck. Each step along the way is going to stack probability in your favor and reduce risk. And it all starts with knowing when to trade. You're going to get complete clarity on market trends. So instead of looking at all possible trades, you're going to narrow your focus. You're going to know whether to place a bullish trade or a bearish trade, and even when not to trade. After you know the direction of the market, you're going to want to find stocks that are highly likely to move in the same direction. That's going to stack your probability even more. And the outcome here is you're going to know how to quickly find the best stocks and indexes to trade that give you the highest probability. Now that you got a list of stocks, it's time to narrow it down to the best option candidates that give you the highest probability for profits. By using the rules of this module, you're going to make sure you're getting paid top dollar for your trade and making it so you can make money even if the stock goes nowhere. You're going to continue to stack probability and reduce risk in Module 6 by the way you set up your trade. You're going to know that your trade has that perfect combination of risk and reward, and you're going to know exactly where to set your strikes. Great trades don't happen by accident. They happen because of careful planning and strategically setting them up correctly right from the very beginning. Now that you got your high probability trade picked out and you're ready to go, Module 7, you're going to learn how to have your plan in place so you know when to exit the trade, not only to take profits, but to minimize losses. You will never be frozen like a deer in the headlights again. No matter what the market throws at you, you'll know how to react, which allows you to trade completely stress-free. And then now that you found the best stock, you got your low risk, high probability option trade, mapped out your management game plan, it's time to place your trade. This module is going to help you break down the trade execution phase into simple, repeatable steps that you're going to be able to commit to muscle memory in no time. And we've put everything you need into a checklist, so you'll never miss a step. When someone's first starting out, it's always having that comfort of having that security blanket. That way you know you did everything right. And plus, we know that placing trades with your broker can be very intimidating. So in addition to video walkthroughs of several popular brokers, we put together click-by-click directions for the most popular platform, Thinkorswim, from Schwab. Now, before I talk about the price of the course, I want to make it even more low risk for you. We offer a 100% money-back guarantee. I've been doing this course since 2016. I'm confident of it. I know that you're going to be able to generate income from this course, but I want to put the onus on me to prove it. You can go through the entire course. If you're not satisfied that we taught you how to profit using options, just notify us within a week of finishing the course. You get all your money back. It's completely no risk. All we ask is give it your best effort. You got to come to the classes or watch the recordings. I don't care which. Do the assignments because we know if you do, you will see the results. So the only thing that we ask is for you to actually do the course. That's it. Do the course. If you don't like it, you have that money back guarantee. Okay? The reason I said it like that is because I only want to attract those who are excited to jump in, do the work, and get the results. I want to attract serious investors. Okay? Serious investors. And in order to do that, when I make that refund policy of you have to do the course, I get those serious investors. And again, the goal is 3% per month. That's 36% per year. If you remember at the start of the class, I did just that last year, 37%, 3.1%. Okay? It doesn't take a lot of time to do this every week. I received this email from a client who took the course. Ron, I'm writing to thank you for teaching the Options Paycheck course. I took your class last fall. Wanted you to know my results for the past 10 months. I keep a journal to document every trade, and so far I've profited on 239 trades out of the 350 I've taken, a 68% win rate. I've profited over $100,000 in this time. What's more exciting is that since my knowledge and experience have grown in regards to taking good risk-reward trades, I've profited $50,000 in my last 6 weeks. My success rate has been over 78% over the last 100 trades, and I only take trades with 2 to 1 or better risk-reward. I want to thank you for teaching this simple but very effective system. Now, Joe trades a lot more actively like some of you would want to do. He trades even more active than I do. I probably place 150 trades a year. He placed 230 in 10 months. There's nothing wrong with that. Scale the system how you like it. But I want you to think of Joe's results. If I told Joe I'd give him 100 grand in exchange for 2 grand, do you think he'd take that trade? Sounds like a pretty darn good trade. Would you take it? Well, I'm going to be making you a better offer here in just a second. Now, before I tell you more about it, I want to point something out. This is not a get-rich-quick scheme. It's not something where you should expect to become a millionaire in the next 24 hours. This is serious, and it requires some effort on your part. So if you're not going to commit to it, then don't do it. It's not for you. This is for serious people who take their investing seriously and are willing to put time in to learn the system. So if you're serious about this and you're ready to do the work and get the results, then the Options Paycheck course is perfect for you. Step-by-step training to go from option basics to a full complete income generating system. Just these training modules alone are worth the price of the course, but I got a couple of bonuses for you as well. Bonus one is what we call the mastery package. It is module by module mastery sessions. Each week you'll have 2 mastery sessions, one dedicated to each module to help you master the course material. And then on Friday, we'll have an additional live Q&A. That means you'll have 3 live sessions each week, giving you plenty of opportunities to ask questions and get help. That also includes a private dedicated email support with me and my team. Additionally, if you don't already have it, we're going to give you access to both the VectorVest and the Options Pro software that I use. That way you can test drive some of the best tools on the planet to help you implement this. With this mastery package bonus, you're going to have the tools and the support you need to master the techniques taught in this course. That way you're ready to place your first income trade in the shortest time possible. Now, speaking of that, the second bonus is what we call Implementation Month. You're going to get access to our live trading sessions. During these sessions, you're going to watch me find, select, set up, and place trades in real time. Plus, I'll show you how I manage my existing trades each week. This is such a huge bonus. You're going to see the paycheck system in action, and you can follow along in your own account if you want to. I'm also going to hold live office hours twice a week. Together, we'll walk through the system step by step in real time. Our past students have said this is one of their favorite parts of the course because watching that repetition really helped them cement the concepts in the process. And if you're worried it might be too much, I'm including this bonus. It's called the SPX Paycheck System. This is where I take the entire course and I boil it down to something you can do in as little as 15 minutes a week. It's one trade on one ticker symbol, one setup rule, one profit rule, one stop criteria. It's simple and easy to do. My teammate Brian taught this to his 14-year-old daughter at the time, and she was able to do the trades. For many of my students, this is the only system that they use. So as a recap, with today's offer, you're going to get the complete Options Paycheck training program that includes 8 training modules, the videos, the checklists, the cheat sheets, the quizzes, the slides, and more. The bonus mastery package, the implementation month bonus, and the SPX paycheck. Total value of that is $54.75. So here's the opportunity in front of you. I'm going to roll up my sleeves, work with a couple hundred people who are serious about generating income. If you choose to be one of them, together, we are going to create an income system in your portfolio, even if you've never had success with options. So if you want to join me, have me take you by the hand and implement this into your portfolio, then instead of that $5,000, the early bird price of the course is $12.95. Now, because I value your time and you spent about an hour with me today, here's what I want to do just for you that attend this class. If you order before the end of our live webinar today, instead of paying that $12.95, you can do it for $9.95. That means you're going to get the full course, 1 year access to the course materials, the slides, the mastery package, and all that stuff, the implementation month for $9.95. The $9.95 will be only for those who register before we finish up. Once we finish up, the price goes back up to $12.95. So if you're serious and you're ready, go to www.optionspaycheck.com, get yourself registered. And I want you to ask yourself, if you're thinking, what's it going to cost you not to do this? How much money are you going to lose out by learning by trial and error? How much profit are you going to miss out on? How much time and energy are you going to waste trying to do this on your own? And ask yourself, how would things be different if you did it and it worked? You know, there's an old saying that the best time to plant an oak tree is 20 years ago, so you could be sitting under now enjoying the shade. Do you know when the second best time is? It's today. It's not too late to begin to prepare yourself for retirement, learning to generate income. This is going to be one of those deciding days in your life. Is it going to be the day you decide to take action and set yourself up for a secure retirement? Or is it going to be the day you look back where you squandered a great opportunity to become a consistent income trader? I hope you don't regret the decision you make. Don't miss this opportunity. I look forward to working with all of you in our classes. So again, go to optionspaycheck.com, get yourself registered. The $9.95 price is only available while we're live on the webinar. So if you've never taken the Options Paycheck course before and you want the lowest price, optionspaycheck.com. After the webinar, it goes to $12.95. So don't wait out or you're going to miss out. Now, I want to talk about a couple of important details as you're signing up. First, when are the live sessions, right? It's a live course. What if you miss a live session? Well, first off, let's start with the course calendar. The course officially kicks off on January 30th. Registration closes at 10 a.m. that day, and we have a live welcome session at 4:30. So that's our first class together. Then you can see on the 31st of January, we jump right into the mastery session of Module 1. All of the modules are available for you. If you sign up right now, you have access to all the modules right now. The only thing you won't have access to yet is VectorVest and Options Pro. That starts with the beginning of the live sessions at the end of January. Okay? But you can watch the modules right now. By Wednesday the 31st, I want you to have watched Module 1 and perhaps Module 2. Then we're going to get together on Wednesday and Thursday at 4:30 to discuss them live with you. Then Friday at noon, we have a Q&A to really wrap up any questions you might have about Modules 1 and Modules 2. Then as you see, through the month of February, we have our additional. We want to teach you all 8 modules in the month of February. Now, if you miss one of these live sessions, don't sweat it. We record every single session, and we place it in our university site. So you'll be able to go after the session and watch it live. You can even send me questions and say, hey, Ron, I can't be there tonight, but can you talk about this for me? I'll answer your question in the session. You can watch the recording when you have an opportunity. That's where we're going to teach you this in February. Now in March, we are going to implement it. I do live trading on Mondays at 11 a.m. for the S&P 500 and then 2 p.m. at stocks. Again, if you can see these classes, great. If you can't, we record them all for you so you can watch them after the show. Then on Wednesday at 4:30 and at noon on Friday, we do an office hour session. We'll review the trades we did that week. We'll answer any questions you have. And most importantly, we're going to continue to look for trades. On Wednesday, I'm going to show you how you can look for trades after the market closes and place orders for the next day. Friday, during live market hours, we'll look for live trades as well. So you're going to have a lot of repetition in March of learning how to do these trades. And again, listen, these are all recorded. So if you can't view them live, it's not a big deal. You can watch the recordings. Another one of my clients, Greg. Prior to the course, I had struggled with knowing how to protect myself when the market was moving away from me, and I feared if I didn't fix it, I'd lose more of my portfolio than I could afford to lose. After taking the options paycheck, I feel better prepared to trade and much more confident. In the first month, I made a net of $10,200 for my options trading with 9 winners and 1 losers. I would absolutely recommend the course. It was very well done, very educational and informative. It's an excellent educational opportunity that I'm thankful I took advantage of. Don't let fear hold you back. You will make more in the first month than you paid to take the course. I was one of the fence sitters who didn't take this course for a long time when I saw it offered. I lost a lot by not taking this program sooner. I'm very grateful and appreciative of the work that was put into making this training program available. Now, the second question I get a lot is how much options experience do I need? We poll all of our prior graduates, and 85% of them said you can be successful with little to no prior options experience. This is just a few more of our clients. Cheryl, I've surpassed my expectation. I don't need the money back guarantee. I tripled my investment. We know Bruce. Frank, after taking the course, I've already had a profit of $7,300. Before the course, it was a crapshoot. Now I believe in the options trades I'm doing. Cam, I've made my initial investment back so many times over. Even though it's a small part of my portfolio, it's probably the most profitable. Hugh, Jake, I finally found a method of making consistent winning trades with a high probability of success. And this is some of our more recent students. Neville said, thanks for a wonderful course where within a short time you opened our eyes to many things. Your experience and enthusiasm comes through easily. You put a lot of thought in the training program, and I already paid for the tuition with a few Delta 35 SPX trades. David, the options paycheck experience is by far the best course I ever attended all my years of VectorVest since '99. You've eliminated my fear of trading options. The manner in which you present the material is truly outstanding. And then Ben, the attention I received for all my email questions was above and beyond what I expected. A lot of my questions were demonstrated in class. That made my learning much easier. Great job. So don't hold out. Get out there. Go to optionspaycheck.com. It's $9.95. Remember, we back this up with that money back guarantee. I know that if you take this course, put effort into it, you will overall become successful. I'm that confident. Okay? After we'll close the webinar, the price will go back up to $12.95. Ultimately, registration ends on January 30th. So let me ask you, if this is right for you, do me a favor. If you're joining me, throw 2 words in the chat box and say, hey, Ron, I'm in. Let's go ahead and officially start the Q&A. I'm going to bring in my colleague, Brian, and we're going to talk about really any questions you have that's going to help you make up your mind.
All right, fantastic. Thanks for bringing me on, Ron.
Excellent.
Excellent questions in the chat. I mean, the chat's really busy, so got some I'm-ins coming in. So welcome to all of you who are joining, like Don and Steve and so on. Great to have you. We're excited to begin another round of our options paycheck training. Ron's been teaching this class for coming up on 8 years and getting people tremendous results. So we're looking forward to helping you do the same thing. So Ron, we did have a bunch of questions that came in. I'll try to go through them one at a time. First off, let me just remind people who are in, please check your email because there should be an email coming to you usually within minutes of you signing up. And that email will have all of the details that you need, such as the dates and the times of all of the live sessions. It should have, or at least it'll have the link into the course so you can get some more of that information. It'll have the directions to get into the course, because like Ron said, you can get in there right now and start going through the training. And in fact, I think Ron gave a suggestion that you could even jump ahead to the bonus module on the S&P training, which you can actually knock out in about an hour or so. And you'll have a complete S&P system, which is our most popular system. You could be ready to go with that, and while you learn the full system. So those of you who are in, please check your email for that. So I'll cover, that was the question I would cover for everybody. There was two other questions that I'll grab really quick. When does registration close? Registration closes on the 30th. That's January 30th. It's Tuesday at 10 a.m. Eastern. So you'd want to get in before then. But the other deadline to keep in mind is this $9.95 discount. If you're not an elite member, this $9.95 will go away, and it'll go back to $12.95 after the session. Okay. And for this next question that will help people with, this one is from, I think it was Edward. He was saying, how do I order? So no, this is Earl. Earl said, how do you sign up? That's a great question. We love those questions. So Ron, I don't know if you have a web browser. We could just actually show Earl and everybody else. If you go to that link that we put into the chat, which is optionspaycheck.com, you could see that on that website, there's a countdown timer. So it shows you that for the next 32 minutes, this special price is going on. When you're on that page, Earl, and I guess anybody else who wants to do this, go and click on register today. And when you do that, it should bring you down to there we go, to a section where it shows you the discounted price. And then all you have to do is click on buy now and save. And it should bring you to like an order form. And so I'll just say one thing while we're on this order form. Actually, two things. If you ever have any questions, you notice there's a phone number in the top right corner. You could call and speak to a human being, or you could chat. You can see there's a chat there in the bottom right. If you want to talk to somebody on the phone or chat with somebody, you could do that there. If we happen to not be on this webinar, but we'll try to answer all your questions while you're here. On this page, if you have a username and password with VectorVest already, all you have to do is click sign in, and that way the course gets put onto your specific account. And if you are brand new to VectorVest, if you do not have a username and password, then you have to create one, and that's the only reason you'd fill in the first name, last name, email, and password. Okay. All right. And those of you who are looking for the checklist, I did put it into the handouts area of GoToWebinar. So just right above where you're typing in, take a look at that. Okay, Ron, are you ready for your questions?
I am.
I'm going to see if I can stump you. I don't think I'll ever stump you. Okay, this question is, I promised a couple of people we would come back to their questions during the Q&A. So this question is from Martha. Martha wanted to know, what size portfolio does someone need to get started in the options paycheck technique? Like, is there a minimum? Is there a maximum? Like, is there an ideal? That type of thing.
The minimum is realistically $5,000. And again, if you remember from the beginning, we showed you that even with $5,000 over the course of, even if you just started with that amount, over 10, 15 years, that adds up, to a lot of money, $500,000, $1 million. So no, you can realistically start with as little as $5,000. Now, I will tell you this, if you want to be a little bit more spreading out things, doing some stocks, doing some indexes, I would say $25,000 is a nice little starting point. That way you kind of get your feet wet. You don't have to start with that much, but 25 gives you the opportunity to get yourself a couple stock trades going, a couple index trades going if you want. Just gives you able to spread it out a little bit more. So you can do an index trade of as low as 5. If you want to spread out a little bit more, 25 is perfectly fine as well. I trade with 100. I could trade with more than that. I could trade with less than that. So really, the beauty of the system is its scalability. You can go down to a small amount, you can go up to higher amounts.
All right. This next question is about those live sessions. I know you had addressed this, but in case somebody had missed it, those live sessions that you showed, what if somebody misses one?
It is not a problem. We take that into account. So we record everything for you, and you can watch them at your leisure. Sorry, I just coughed and now it's confusing me. I guess it hit a brain cell or something. But no, we can record every live session we do. You can watch them at your leisure. So being there live is not a big deal.
All right. And the other one was you showed a calendar and there were several live sessions. And by the way, I read through the surveys of our past students and people say, I loved attending all the live sessions. They were so beneficial. But in the chat here, Ron, if somebody said that, do they need to attend all of them to be successful?
Mm-hmm.
What would you say?
No, you don't have to. We do a lot of sessions because we want to just create a schedule that hopefully meets everybody's availability. We do them on Tuesday. Well, Ron, I can't come Tuesday nights. That's okay. We do them on Thursday too. Well, Ron, I can't do Friday during noon. Okay, but you can do Thursday. So we have a lot of live sessions, not because we expect you to be at every single live session. We just want to make sure that we have an assortment of them to meet as many schedules as we can. That's really the idea.
All right, this next one, Ron, this is actually one from the surveys from former students who took the class. We asked people what their biggest hesitation is about signing up, and maybe some people in the chat are actually thinking this, but without typing it in. The biggest hesitation for a lot of people is the price, right? It's not like a cup of coffee. It's not 50. It's not, you don't get coffee for 50 cents anymore, but it's not a couple of dollars, right? It's on $995. So we understand it's an investment. But if somebody was saying, hey, that is my hesitation. I'm hesitant to lay out $1,000 for this course. In your personal opinion, Ron, why would that be a good investment for somebody in this course?
Well, because this is something that we have a great track record behind us. I've been teaching this course since 2016. I've been trading this methodology for over 15 years. It is something that anybody can do. It's something that you can do in as little as 15 minutes a week if you want to. It's going to set you up for the rest of your life. And then if you don't believe all that, we have a money back guarantee. Let us prove it to you. If you don't think we've done it, you can get your money back. It's as simple as that. I put the onus on myself and us to prove to you that this is the income system that you need. It's really as simple as that.
Ooh, excellent reminder about the money back guarantee. Thanks for doing that, Ron. All right, next up is we got a few more. Since there's a nice schedule of classes, which obviously somebody could go to those classes and get help. But what if are there other ways to get help during the course?
Sure. The best way to get help with us is just to email us. You have a private, dedicated email that's only for the Options Paycheck students. It goes right. You don't have to go through support at our company. It goes right to me and my Options Paycheck team, and we can answer you very quickly. If we need to get on the phone with you, worst case scenario, we can certainly do that. But there's an email that goes right to us that we check constantly. So you have direct access to all of us.
All right. And let's see, this question, we had a couple of Canadians here with us. So welcome to you. I know this one, I promised Clark we would come back to his question. And there's another gentleman from Canada who is asking about this. Does this system work in Canada? And if somebody is a Canadian, somebody from Canada, what would you say?
Well, most of our Canadian clients trade U.S. markets. However, the concepts and the analytics and all of the things that we teach you, they will work on Canadian options. Now, the only downside of Canadian options is there's not quite the liquidity on as many things here in the States that we have. So yes, you can use this with Canadian options. You might find a little less trade opportunities there, but all of the concepts we teach will work. Now, while we're talking about Canada, I want to put this little disclaimer out real quick. There is a Canadian account. I want to say it's the RRSP, if I'm not mistaken. The RRSP does not support this type of trading. So if you're going to try to think and say, hey, on RRSP, I can try this in, not going to work. You have to have a different type of an account for that. But it will work with Canadian options for sure.
All right, Ron, for the people who are here wondering, what this course looks like, would you be able to actually log in and kind of give people a tour of what it looks like behind the scenes?
Yep.
If they, oh, you already got it logged up.
So I beat you this time. I had it all ready to go.
You have it. I'll pass it over to you.
All right. So once you sign up, you're going to get access to our university site. And when you go into the options paycheck, this is what the course is going to look like. Now, as I said, you're going to get access to all of the materials right off the beginning. Okay. So you're going to have a getting started. My recommendation is the first thing you do, go to where it says course curriculum checklist and print this guy out. Because number one, it's going to give you at the end a schedule of all of our live classes. That's important. Number two, it just kind of has a checklist as you go through of maybe any questions you have, just a little check to make sure you've done all of the things you need to in each module. But again, the most important thing is that schedule of all the live events. Now, under that, you're going to see all of our modules. So module 1, you're going to see the recorded lessons. This is where you're going to go in and learn. We've got them all broken down into lessons. Okay, all broken down into lessons where you can go in there and see each one. We've got a review and then an action item. We want you to be implementing what we're teaching you. We also have review questions. So we have a little quiz that we want you to take. We have a walkthrough section. So I told you we have action items that we want you to do. I actually have a video that's going to help you perform that. That way you're not lost. We have FAQs for every one of our modules. And then finally, we have our mastery sessions. Now, if I open that mastery session up, you're going to see a date of November 1st. Well, Ron, why does it say November 1st? Because that's the last time I did a mastery session for Module 1. You can actually go in there right now and watch that from my last options paycheck class. Now, when we do our first mastery session together, which I think, if I'm not mistaken, is January 31st, that'll be overwritten, and then you'll see the mastery session for your class. So that takes you through essentially all 8 modules that you see in the course. Below that, you're going to see our bonus trading module for the SPX, where we teach you the SPX system. You're going to see the recording area for all our Q&As and office recordings. You're going to see the recordings from our live trading sessions. So, for instance, if you want to go back and say, hey, what trades did Ron do the last time he did this class? You can open that up, and you can see my trades I did in the months of December with my last class. Those, of course, will all be overwritten when we do your class together. Options Pro videos, as I said, when this class starts live, you're going to get access to both VectorVest and Options Pro. A lot of folks say, Ron, is there any videos to help me with Options Pro? And the answer is yes, they're right there. Broker help videos. I have broker help videos with Thinkorswim and E-Trade and all that stuff. Fidelity, Ally. And then most importantly, one of the things that we do 24 hours before every live session, we send you a link to join the class. Sometimes emails like this, the links don't come. If the link doesn't come, you just go right in here to the live webinars, and you're actually going to see a schedule and links for all of our sessions. So right off the bat, here's the links for week 1. Here's the links, going to be links for 2 and 3 and 4 and all that stuff. And then finally, under resources, this is where you can go in module by module and download the slides. So all the slides that we use, you can download and print those off right there, and that kind of takes you through all of the course inside of university. So like I said, right from the beginning, you get everything you need access to. You can start right away. Just be prepared for that first class on the 31st, go through module 1, and I think you'll be a happy camper.
Excellent reminder that you can get in there and do it now. Like, what is today, Wednesday? Mm-hmm. By the end of this weekend, you could have gone through the the simplest SPX system. And maybe they get, if they wanted to, if they're a real go-getter, they might even decide to place a trade next week if they feel comfortable enough. Or at least they could have gone through and start going through the training this weekend and have some questions. They could start emailing us if they have questions before we even begin doing any of the mastery sessions. All right, Ron, there was a gentleman on our YouTube stream, since you're streaming on YouTube, a gentleman who said he's new to options, like he's never placed an option. Do you feel that this course, somebody who, I know you there was a slide earlier that addressed this, but what would you say to him who's never bought an option before?
I think that you can do it, because when I redesigned the course a few years ago, I kept that in mind. I wanted to make sure that people that have never touched an option could do this. Now, listen, you might have to watch some of the presentations from Module 1 a couple of extra times, but between Module 1, Module 2, the mastery sessions that we do, the Q&A, I truly believe that even a beginner can do this course. And, like Brian said, 85% of our prior course attendees said that even a new options trader could accomplish this. So I truly do think that this is something a beginner can do, because we don't leave any ambiguity here. We give you detailed step-by-step directions on how to do this. So I truly believe that even a beginner can accomplish this.
All right. A quick reminder for everybody. The registration will close for everybody on January 30th at 10 a.m. Eastern. The $9.95 price will go away in just a little bit. I think it's maybe 15, 20 minutes or so. We wanted to give enough time for you to ask questions or call our team. So if we don't happen to get to a question or you think of it after the fact, you can always call our office. The phone number is right on the page where you can go to order. So you can check that out. I'll also put it in the chat in just a minute. But if you do have a question, you want to talk to a real live human being, just give our team a call and we could help you out. Okay. All right. Ron, there was another question. I think it was from Ross. We were talking about Canada. What about other countries like Europe, Australia?
Yeah, I would have the exact same thing, where you're not going to have as many opportunities. Like, I might find 30 opportunities in a week. You might find 10 if you're doing, because the liquidity in some of those other areas like London or Australia or Canada, you're not going to have as much option liquidity. However, the strategies and the concepts that we teach are universal to any options market in the world.
All right. And one thing I would point out is something we added not that long ago was people usually ask, does it really work? And we do get a lot of testimonials about this course. Some we can't get all of them put on our website, but if you go, Ron, can you go back to that optionspaycheck.com page?
Yeah.
If you do want to read some of these testimonials, you might find out that you are just like some of these other people who have taken the class. We highlighted some on this page, but as you scroll down, there's a section, I think towards the bottom, Ron, there it is, right there, where it says view all testimonials. If you want to click on that, we've got a whole bunch. Right, we probably have a whole bunch more we could add if we talk to the people back and forth and get their approval to put their comments from the surveys up here. But we try to put only the testimonies where we've spoken to people and actually gone back and forth and gotten more detail from them here. But you can see there's just a ton of testimonials. You could read through them. You can even click on some of them and there's some of them where you can read more and get the full description. Bob was a gentleman who traded with a small account. I remember him. We talked to him over on the phone. And there's so many more. So I really recommend you check that out if you are hesitant in any way about taking the course. All right. So I'm trying to think, Ron. I think pretty much covered the main questions for this session. Did you have anything else that you wanted to add before we wrapped up today?
Not that I can recall.
All right. So if you do think of something, or if I happen to miss your question in the chat, just give our team a call. But we are excited to begin this at the beginning of February. That's when the software will turn on. If you don't have Options Pro right now, or you don't have any like VectorVest account, we'll turn that software on at the beginning of February. But you have access to the course materials immediately. Go ahead, check it out. And we're excited. We're excited to check it out and begin this in February. So, Ron, I will pass it over to you so you could do any kind of last minute message.
All right. Well, thank you, Brian, and thank all of you for attending. I appreciate it. I've taken 90 minutes of your time, and I know your time is valuable, so I do appreciate it. Thank all of you who have signed up. I'm looking forward to working with you starting in end of February, or actually, I'm sorry, in the beginning of February, end of January. Looking forward to working with you. We're going to put together a great income system in your portfolio. I have confidence that we're going to do this. So thank you once again. I look forward to seeing all of you and meeting you. And with that, I will bid you a farewell. And thanks once again for spending the time with me. See ya and have a great year. Thanks, everybody.